We've heard of José Mourinho's name being linked with a return to Real Madrid, Alex, but it does seem to be that he is emerging as a serious contender right now, and those reports have got stronger today. Is this going to happen?
Yeah, multiple reports today, as you say, Kay, that there has been direct contact with Mourinho, with his agent, Jorge Mendes, that Mourinho has even been informed about what's been going on behind the scenes at Real Madrid in terms of that dressing room bust-up this week. We had said he was one of the names that's being discussed, a name that was on the shortlist. It does feel like it's becoming more of a reality now. And I've got to say, after just a bizarre, mad week here in Madrid in terms of what's going on in that dressing room. I don't know about you, you kind of get to the point where you think, well, maybe Jose is the answer. As wild as it sounded when his name was first linked, because look, he has been kind of, in the relative wilderness as a coach for the last sort of decade or so, hasn't been winning things, hasn't been a top line manager. Given the mess that there is to sort out here at the Bernabeu, like I say, you're going to get to a point where you feel like, well, yeah, maybe this is the way forward. We don't know. We can't report here at ESPN that this is kind of a done deal yet, that he is the guy. But certainly no question right now, given what we're hearing, it looks like he is the best placed candidate to take charge this summer.
What do you think of these links, Craig?
Well, it's not exactly progressive, is it?
Do you think it's what they need at the moment, though, with what's going on there?
Well, I don't know, because, Mourinho's not going to... he likes to butt heads as well, excuse the pun, with all that's going on, but he does like to butt heads with players. And, look, he could go in and... Is he as calm a man-manager as Carlo Ancelotti? No. No. He's much more rumbustious. He's much more confrontational. And, if the likes of Vinicius Junior and others are not pulling their weight, or they're not working hard enough, or results are not going their way, there's not going to be enough buses for everybody to get thrown under. So, José Mourinho at one point, Porto, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter, was arguably at that point the best manager on the planet. He walked into Chelsea, he said, I'm the special one, and he was at the time. He was, and he did some great things. But as Alex mentioned the last umpteen years, I don't know how many years, he has been in the wilderness. He hasn't had that Midas touch. He hasn't been able to get the same out of certain players, albeit he's managed teams at a slightly lower level. When you think about, his time in Turkey, his time in England, when he went to Tottenham, there's been other jobs. So it's not the same Mourinho that's walking back in who walked into Real Madrid the last time. So I can't answer this question if all of a sudden José Mourinho is going to be this marvellously calming influence in the dressing room, which he hasn't really been for quite some time. So I think Alex's word for the week in Madrid is correct. Bizarre. And this falls into that category a little bit.
I have to say, you asked me this 2 weeks ago, it makes absolutely no sense. But to Alex's point, kind of given José Mourinho being out in the wilderness as a term that's being used, though having a decent season, undefeated season with Benfica, and then given what you saw in the tie between Real Madrid and Benfica in the Champions League earlier this season with Cristiano and Vinicius Junior, and how poorly José Mourinho handled that, it seemed even more a far shot in that regard. But everything you've seen this week, it just screams that it needs a disciplinarian. And while Craig mentions Carlo Ancelotti, you look at managers who may be able to come in and turn things around in this dressing room. Managers who may be available, and Carlo Ancelotti is not one. The only name that kind of makes sense from a disciplinarian point of view is José Mourinho. Maybe not from a footballing or a results perspective, but for what is clearly an unravelling dressing room, José Mourinho ticks the most boxes.
Well, just before we go to the boys, I know they're waiting patiently, just quickly. You're not going to solve this by continually changing the manager. It's the players, and Luis Enrique and PSG are a great example of the big egos, the big stars left, Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. They were replaced by very good players who worked hard and they were hungry. And that was the difference. I think Florentino Perez has to realise it may have to be some of the players he has to replace, because it seems to me he has no idea of what path he wants to go down. He went down the Xabi Alonso. It was very progressive, but the dressing room revolted in that. And so honestly seems that Florentino Perez is lost in the direction he wants to take this football club, whereas at Barcelona, they have a manager in Hansi Flick who's been very progressive, and they're going to win the league again. There's a big game this weekend, but they're a very entertaining team, and he does have discipline as well. So you can have both, but I just don't see how hiring José Mourinho just to sort of solve a few issues within the dressing room is going to make Real Madrid better on the field again.
What are the thoughts from you guys out in Barcelona? Let me start with you, Luis.
Actually, listen to the guys. I think Shaka made a fantastic point. I mean, having someone who knows the club and he can bring a little bit of discipline and address the situation that the Real Madrid has been having for, I don't think that it's only a year. It's been for quite a long period. I think it could be something that Mourinho can help. He's got a background that people will respect, players will respect. He's got that discipline side that I think is very important to implement right now at Real Madrid after not only the issue that we've seen with the latest situations on the dressing room, but apart from that, the way of this Real Madrid, how they've been understanding on trying to use the message that they will receive from Xabi Alonso, from Arbeloa, and the lack of probably respect that they had in between them during the past few months that we saw, not only the discipline into the pitch, but also outside of the pitch. So I think to bring in a manager like him, it could help on that side, that situation, and also because of that history of knowing the club, the history of being one of the best managers in the past. I understand what Chris is talking about. The future, yeah, it's true that is maybe not going to change the whole situation, the structure, and bringing 10 players, because he understands the situation of the club is that economically or financially is not the best situation for Real Madrid at the moment. So bringing a manager who can understand that, it can help to rebuild the situation. But definitely, if you look around, there is not many managers who can bring that discipline back, that respect earned from the players. So far, Ale, it was not that bad idea that we thought maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Well, let me just tell you this, Luis. You have made a terrible, and I mean terrible mistake in listening to Shaka Hislop when it comes to José Mourinho. See, you don't know this. You don't know this, but when Shaka interviewed José Mourinho a few years back, he melted during the interview. He melted. He was so starstruck. So if you ask Shaka Hislop about José Mourinho, he's always going to tell you, yeah, that's the right call, Real Madrid. Good job, Florentino Perez.
It's a good point.
By whom? By Shaka?
No, it's a good point. It doesn't matter if it's Shaka who is saying. It's a good point bringing someone who can bring the discipline.
No, well, look, for me, this is going to be a spectacular car crash. It is. Now, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting given the history and what we know of José Mourinho. José Mourinho by himself, he's an interesting personality and an interesting character. And he's going to give this a whole lot of spice. But this is not a locker room that is currently set up to succeed in the long term under José Mourinho. So this may be a short-term solution to just kind of keep things together for a little while. But if this club is to take their position among the elite clubs in the world on the field, they're going to have to make more changes than just the manager, and they're going to have to look into the future as to what this club is going to look like under a different manager than José Mourinho. So once again, let me just reiterate, Luis, when it comes to José Mourinho, do not listen to Shaka Hislop.
Well, it's not just Ali José Mourinho. There's a Real Madrid. There's a Real Madrid theme here, because when Gareth Bale came into the studio, former Real Madrid player, a few months ago, I wasn't actually there at the time. I was, and thank God, because I needed a sick bag. I was told he fawned over him. He followed him around the studio, didn't he? Gareth, can I have photos? What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, we have some football to discuss here.
No, do you know what? Just want to say quickly. What did? To be fair, me, Ali, and I are not the sort of fawning over people kind of type, you know. So if you want to do that, Shaq, that's your own business. What did Real Madrid fans be? And I get this. Listen, I agree with Ali. I think it would be, for people that cover La Liga like us, it will be fun. It'll never probably be dull, because Mourinho's in town and sparks normally fly, and I get that. I think for us it will be great, and the TV and the cameras and everybody, you know, all that stuff. But even if there's some sort of short-term solution, what did Real Madrid fans, what were the two things they bemoaned this season the most? A, results, which are ultimately the most important thing, but B, they bemoaned and they booed and they whistled about performance, right? Do you think a José Mourinho appointment is going to do anything for performance, for entertainment? It's going to go the other way. So that puts even more pressure on results, because we know the type of football that Mourinho wants to play or tries to play, particularly these days. So that's for that reason. I'm like, yeah, for us, great. I'll sit here and watch the fireworks and the sparks go off. That's fine. But if you're a Real Madrid fan and you want to see something better on the field as well as results, is this going to bring it? I think history would tell you, no, it's not the way he plays the game.
But back when he was at the club, they were playing an exciting brand, albeit his brand of football. Of course, he had the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema back then. But the fans, if they're winning...
Well, he went to Inter Milan, he won the Champions League, they beat Bayern Munich.
Could we say that Real Madrid needs to go back to basics, though, to actually just start getting the results to begin with?
Real Madrid need to figure out the bad apples in the dressing room and eventually get them out. If you don't want to be working hard and pulling your weight and agreeing to do what a coach wants you to do, that you're not going to be at the football club. Listen to what Ousmane Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner from last year, said in the last couple of weeks ahead of their momentous victory over Bayern Munich. It's crystal clear, he said, under this manager, Luis Enrique, that if you don't run, you're out the team. That's very simplistic, but it's very easy to understand as a player. If I don't work hard enough, I'm not in this team. There will be consequences. A lot of Real Madrid players don't understand that sort of connotation. They don't. We do it. I'm sorry, run? We run when we want to run. And I'm not everybody, but some of the big ones, we run when we want to run. We press when we want to press. And that's not how the best teams operate these days. It's not. It's not how Liverpool was successful. It's not how PSG are successful. It's not how Bayern have had a great season in terms of domestically up until PSG. They work together. All these teams work together. Real Madrid clearly do not.